Happy Friday, fellow Texans. Is it Iran or Iran? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WVAP. I don't even know. I'm 48 years old. I've been saying this in a 23, 24-year radio career tens of thousands of times. And I find myself interchanging. Sometimes I say Iran, sometimes I say Iran. And sometimes I kind of mix it to Iran. Does that ever pop out? Who knows? But we actually have some new info that kind of slid out. I don't know if this was on accident today, but Carolyn Levitt was standing in the driveway for some reason of the White House. Some reporters come up. She has a small amount of time with questions, but she was asked about the timeline and kind of leaked some stuff that I feel like we weren't supposed to know yet.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks, and we are well on our way to achieving those objectives. Annihilating Iran's navy, we know that we've sunk more than 30 Iranian vessels and ships. Their navy has now been deemed combat ineffective. Taking out the ballistic missile threat that Iran posed to the United States and our troops and bases in the region, we have done a tremendous job. The United States military has done a tremendous job at achieving that objective thus far. Just 6 days in, the retaliatory ballistic missile strikes from Iran are now down 90%. Of course, ensuring Iran can never obtain a nuclear weapon as well, and significantly weakening their proxies in the region, which we know are responsible for the deaths of Americans. And we've seen Hezbollah and the Houthis hardly putting up a fight over the course of the last 6 days. Ultimately, the president has made it very clear he wants to take out the threat of Iran to the United States, and Operation Epic Fury is well on its way to doing that. As for the future of Iran, as the president has pointed to, of course it's in the best interest of the United States of America for Iran to no longer be led by a radical terrorist regime that chants death to America and is lying to the United States and the world about their secret ambitions to possess a nuclear bomb. President Trump does not want to see that. He wants to take an interest in pursuing who the next leader of the Iranian country is going to be, and that has yet to be seen, and the president is discussing it and deliberating it.
The next piece of new information from today is there's been confirmation that Russia is helping Iran. There it is. I said it again. Iran with intelligence assets. You know, they're the ones that have satellites. They're the ones who have the eyes in the sky. They're the ones who have the superior technology. And we kind of knew it, but now it's been confirmed. Dan Hoffman, a former CIA guy, was on Fox News earlier today.
It's old news. The Trump administration is well aware of this, going back to the first Trump administration when the Russian intelligence was providing the Taliban with intelligence to kill our soldiers there. That's just what they do. That's their currency in return for receiving Iranian drones and having Iranians create these, build these drone factories in Russia. The Russians provide tactical and strategic intelligence on their main enemy, the United States. Now, it hasn't really had a whole lot of effect. We're doing pretty well in spite of whatever Russian intelligence is making its way to Tehran. There was no early warning intelligence that would have saved Ayatollah Khamenei's life. So I wouldn't put too much stock in the value of this, but it just shows us that this is the axis of dictatorships: Russia, Iran, China, North Korea, that are all working against U.S. national interests.
Yeah, and you know, we're doing it to Russia right now. We're helping out Ukraine. They're in an active shooting hot war. They are boots on the ground getting help from us. We're not even boots on the ground in Iran yet. So there are probably thousands of Russians that have been killed with American air quote support. So I'm not shocked that they're doing this. I totally expect them to do this. I mean, I would prefer if they weren't, but I don't think this is any great revelation. And it just shows you what we're up against. And it shows you that this isn't an isolated incident. This is tied in with what just happened in Venezuela. This is tied in with what's going on in Ukraine. This is tied in with what's going on with Israel and Gaza. You know, you knock a couple of legs off the stool, these people are going to fall over. And just like knocking out Venezuela is probably going to collapse Cuba, knocking out the Ayatollahs in Iran would necessarily diminish Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthi rebels and all the other bad actors that they're funding. But also, this is a big connection between Venezuela and Iran is the oil. You know, if we ever want to win World War III without firing a shot, we can do that by choking off anybody's oil. China can't produce enough oil for itself. Russia can, so I don't think we could ever really choke them out. But if we ever have us and Russia on the same side against China, China doesn't have a chance. But these aren't isolated incidents. We do have a clearer picture now. They're hoping to have this wrapped up in 6 weeks. And when they say what's the timeline, 4 to 6 weeks, that means 6 weeks, right? If it finishes early, good. But you can't start saying that we're past the deadline for 6 weeks. So let's just say 6 weeks to make it simple. So that sounds pretty good. Russia's helping out Iran. First, it doesn't sound good. But secondly, if you want to process that and assume they've been helping them since day one, hadn't done them a lot of good, has it? Ayatollahs are still dead. Something like their top 40, or I've read like their top 88 leaders have already been blown into submission. Didn't save that boat from getting sunk. And if we are only still walking away with 6 casualties or 6 deaths, every one of those is a tragedy. But you have Russia's help, and that's what you got? Okay. Just like when Cuba was providing some of the security, and also Russia and Chinese radar systems and anti-aircraft missiles and whatnot, when we went and picked up Maduro, didn't help you a whole lot there, did it? So hearing that Russia is helping out in Iran, that's kind of funny. It's like, really? Well, what are y'all doing? Doesn't seem to be working too well. On the home front, we're still having a ridiculous debate about it. My favorite new clip, Elizabeth Hasselbeck, formerly of The View, went back to The View and had a fun little exchange until they just went to commercial.
I want to ask you why you keep calling this like an undocumented attack, that you don't agree with the war,
an illegal,
illegal,
unconstitutional.
So did you believe it was illegal in April of 2011 when the Office of Legal Counsel memo stated from President Obama that the president has constitutional authority to direct the use of military force in Libya because he could reasonably determine that such use of force was in the national interest prior congressional approval was not constitutionally required to use military force in these operations? Where were you then complaining?
I agreed. Well, I wasn't on the show then.
No, but personally, would you have stood against that?
I was at home complaining. No, I wasn't complaining because the Office of Legal Counsel was involved. And the Office of Legal Counsel...
This came after.
But the Office of Legal Counsel is the office in the Department of Justice, because I worked at the Department of Justice, that reviews these things and makes legal determinations. This president doesn't go through the Office of Legal Counsel. This president does not go to Congress. Congress has the power to to approve wars. This Congress has the power of the purse. This president is acting more like a king than anything else. He is the commander. He's the commander-in-chief, but he is not a king. And so I think that this should have gone through Congress. I think that the American embassies should have been notified so that American citizens in the Middle East would have been able to get to safety. I don't think that this was done appropriately. I maintain that this is illegal and unconstitutional.
Do you like the result? Do you like the result?
No, I don't.
Well, you would rather the regime head and those 40, 18 leaders be
Yeah. She doesn't like the result. She wishes the Ayatollah was still alive. No, ladies of The View, it's not an illegal war. It's undocumented. It's an undocumented war. It's applying for the asylum process right now. Coming up next, I have an intelligence advisor, Robert Erringer, will give his take on the latest situation in Iran on The James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We now have a timeline in the Iran Operation Epic Fury. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And the timetable was set at 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, well, that sounds like something we all kind of had in mind anyway. We didn't want to hear 4 to 6 months or 4 to 6 years, but 4 to 6 weeks sounds pretty tolerable for most of us.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks. And
says Carolyn Levitt from the driveway of the White House today. My next guest, Robert Erringer, he's an intelligence advisor coming on the James Show. And that 4 to 6 weeks, that sound about right to you, Robert? How do they know when to stop? Yeah, and that's a quote from Trump in a recent phone interview. He's asking for unconditional surrender. But with all the people getting blowed up, who's the person that's going to give him the unconditional surrender? Like, who does he even call on the phone when it's time to get that surrender? So, Robert Erringer, they're still shooting missiles off. Well, how do you think the international community feels about this? The UN put out a statement saying they don't like the illegal, aggressive, unnecessary, whatever. They don't like us attacking Iran. But you know, behind closed doors, how do you think the rest of the world feels about this? Wait, sorry to interrupt, Robert. They're losing 40,000 soldiers a month, like right now, or was that at the height of the fighting? That feels high. So, in the entirety of the Vietnam War, we lost 58,000. So, this guy is doing almost that every month. What's Ukraine's losses look like right now? Brutal. All right, we're talking with Robert Erringer. He's an intelligence advisor. So if we do actually have a regime change in Iran, Trump says he wants to have some input in who the next leader is, but will he or should he? Yeah, I want to see a fella with a suit and tie running your country. No more bathrobes. You know, I think that's where I'm starting there. I also have one of my litmus tests is the bikini. Is the bikini illegal? Because I don't agree with any society that shuns my favorite piece of swimwear. All right, Robert Erringer, where do we find more of your work online? That was good stuff. Well, good stuff. Thanks for helping us out on the James Show, Robert. Appreciate it. That's Robert Erringer. Coming up next, more updates on the Iran situation. How does 4 to 6 weeks sound? If we get out of there by then, you happy with this? I'll tell you how I feel next on the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. The Iran war will affect Trump in the midterms. Will it be good or bad? I'm James Parker on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Bill O'Reilly said it a couple days ago on Newsmax.
So if it goes America's way and there is a regime change and Iran becomes a civilized nation again, Trump's going to have a lot of wind at his back. If it goes south, this is huge. Because right now the press is doing everything it can to root for Iran. The press is actually rooting for Iran. I watch ABC
When you
World
say
News.
Iran, you mean the people or the regime?
They want America to lose. So World News tonight on ABC, and I work for an ABC, so did you, did 15 minutes last night, did 8 segments, every segment negative, and I mean really negative, every segment. Not one positive word, not one word on how bad the mullahs were. David Muir. In addition to that, David Muir said the word tonight 70 times in 17 minutes. So, I mean, I'm going, what the deuce is happening? I work for Jennings, who was excellent, okay? But I didn't even watch the other two. I just watched World News Tonight. And after watching it, I wanted to surrender. We should surrender to Iran. Watching ABC News, we lost. That's how crazy it is.
You know, he's making a great point. Get ready for the most gloom and doom, negative, apocalyptic, end of the world coverage possible for the next 6 months. No matter what's going on in Iran, it's going to be terrible. It's going to be the worst. We're losing. We're failing. Donald Trump's an idiot. It's a big mistake. I got it. Look, just to also check in with your favorite Indian, Elizabeth Warren. Someone caught her walking out of a classified briefing on the Iranian bombing. She's in one of the Senate committees or whatever. And so what do you hear? Of course, things are bad. In fact, things are worse than anyone could have possibly imagined.
I just left a classified briefing on Iran, and here's what I can say. It is so much worse than you thought. You are right to be worried.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's worse than being attacked by the Comanches. It's worse than you could have imagined. Oh, really? Is it like the first 8 minutes of Saving Private Ryan? Is that what's going on right now? Just ridiculous. So get ready for that. That's coming. And whether or not you're buying into this, you have to be concerned about it because a lot of your neighbors are. A lot of your neighbors still believe the stuff they see on TV. And so the Iran war will affect Trump. What's the midterms now? 6 months away? 7 months away? The only question is, will it be good or bad? Can the media sink this? Because you know the United States military isn't going to lose. You know we're not going to get our butt kicked by Iran. They're not like about to storm the beaches of Florida and take over Tampa or something. But look, this timeline is our first good limbo bar. Can we get under this? Carolyn Levitt gave us the timeline.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks, and we are well.
There you go. So look, don't expect the haters right now to, if we get out in 4 to 6 weeks, to give Donald Trump credit and to say, well, I'm glad he did what he did in Iran. I may have questions with his constitutionality, but needless to say, getting rid of the Ayatollah and instituting this new secular government is definitely better for the people of Iran and the entire world. They'll never say that. They'll just move on to the next tragedy. There'll be some guy that gets killed by a cop or, I don't know, some Jussie Smollett thing to happen, and they'll all coalesce around that. So don't expect ever to get the credit. You just want this to go away. You want it to go away quick. You do not want this to still be mushroom clouds on TV when we get to the election in 7 months. That would be bad. So let's map this out. Let's make our spectrum here. What's it going to look like by the time the midterms roll around and we're actually voting in November? And what really counts is October, because that's when everyone solidifies their opinion. So 6-7 months from now. Oh, kids. I did the thing. I don't know. But if the timeline holds up that Carolyn Levitt just gave us, and we are done within 6 weeks, And between now and election day, for us, over in Iran, they have a new provincial government, transitional government. They get a secular constitution. It's written, it's ratified, and then proper elections are held. And then as a result of these proper elections, they have a parliament or a Congress or whatever they decide is the legislative body, and they have a president or prime minister, but it's going to be a dude in a suit running the joint. Not some guy that's dressed like a Jedi, not some guy that's in bathrobes. But no, I want a dude in a suit and tie. Hell, he doesn't even have to have the tie. He can just do the tieless suit, the casual look. I don't even want to see him in a Fetterman hoodie. So if all of that happens, and that is best case scenario, this does help Trump in the midterms. Now, they're not going to focus on it on the Democrat side, but he is going to be able to go to the debates, the public speeches, the rallies, the news, the interviews, and he'll be able to talk about, hey, look how good the economy's doing. Look how good the border's doing. Look how good the deportations are doing. Look how good Iran is doing. Look how good Venezuela is doing. Look at how good, because, without the backing of Iran, how long does Hezbollah and Hamas hold out? Do they start cutting deals? And now we have a more tranquil Gaza Strip. We have a more tranquil Israel. We have a more tranquil Lebanon. How much of the Houthi rebels would subside if Iran wasn't backing them? Then we'd have a peaceful Yemen. We might have a peaceful Syria, comparatively speaking. So there's a lot of things that can go right between now and then. On the flip of that, if this goes bad, this really could sink Trump in the midterms. If we put boots on the ground and we start seeing coffins coming home, that's going to cost him. If this is still long and drawn out by the time we go to the election box, if we still don't have a new government or anything close to it, if we still have ayatollahs and dudes in bathrobes, people that look like they're in the Old Testament running the place, when we go to the ballot box in the midterms, it's going to crush him. So if you're a politically minded guy, if you're a Trump fan, you are praying for a quick, clean, pretty finish to this. And we now have our first little hurdle to jump. 6 weeks. Can we be on the next phase in 6 weeks? 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Love to hear how you think this will affect Trump in the midterms. More on the Iran war coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're just breaking down the war in Iran on the James Show, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. Three funny guys that are on between the James shows right now. But we have some locals who are stuck in the area, not in Iran, but close enough. WFAA had their story this morning.
Some Texans feel stranded overseas. The State Department has urged U.S. citizens to depart now from countries throughout the Middle East. But one couple from Central Texas says they're stuck in Dubai with virtually no options.
Airports are still closed. We don't know when they're going to open. They're still trying to get people out from a week ago before us.
With limited flights posing challenges, the Trump administration says they're working on options for charter, military, and expanded commercial flights to get Americans out of the war zone.
Oh my God, imagine being stuck in Dubai. That's gotta suck. All right, Cassie in Argyle, you're on WBAP. Hey, Cassie.
Hi, James. Does no one remember 9/11? We don't trust these people. We never should ever again. That doesn't mean that there aren't some good ones that would really love to live here and be an American. Wish they were Americans. Sorry. That ship sailed when they came over and killed over 2,000 Americans while the president at that time, I guess, was sleeping. Somebody was, because we didn't even have a hint that they were coming, and yet they pulled it off. Never, ever again should we trust them. President Trump is doing exactly what he should do, and I am thankful for him. I'm thankful to God for him because he's smart. He doesn't want to put our country at one single bit of risk. And so he's got to do what he's doing right now to make sure that doesn't happen. It's simple. And anybody that, to me, I mean, I'm not trying to be mean, but if you don't see that, you're dumb.
Well, a lot of people would hear that opening statement there, Cassie, and after 9/11, you're like, you still trust them? They're not sure if you're talking about the fundamentalist Muslims or if you're talking about our intelligence apparatus, because they didn't see it coming, and then they turned around with the weapons of mass destruction stuff in Iraq. And so for a lot of people, they don't trust the intelligence that we have. They don't trust the idea that Iran is just days away from a nuclear bomb. We've been hearing that since at least 2007.
I do now with Trump in charge. Anybody else? No. But no, it's the Muslims. It's the Middle Eastern people who completely they killed over 2,000 people we looked like a bunch of idiots. We're the ones that taught them how to drive the planes. I mean, how brazen is that? How in your face is that from these kind of people?
So you like the attack on Iran because you see this as a larger civilizational conflict between the Western world and the Islamic world.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's hard to argue against that.
No Muslims over here shouldn't be here. There should not be any. They should have all been shipped back at 9/11. And again, I'm not saying that to be mean because I'm sure there are good ones. I mean, I have some friends that are from the Middle East.
Well, look,
they migrated over here.
Look, hang on, but
parents.
I think you just mean specifically Muslim immigrants, right? Because I don't think anybody wants to deport Dave Chappelle. Your entire life, you never wanted to deport Casey Kasem. I know he's not with us anymore, but he was like a very mainstream, widely accepted Muslim in American history.
I mean, if we have a system where we can pull out and know for a fact that they're good, do we really want to spend that kind of time and money? Or should, when 9/11 happened, that's when it all stopped? We wouldn't even be facing what we're facing right now. And our president, thank God, he's the one that's president, wouldn't even be having to deal with what he's dealing with right now, in my opinion.
Well, I think these two issues do need to be talked about in the same sentence. Basically, the war in Iran and our immigration issue, the civilizational conflict, they are all related, Cassie. I'm not as interventionist as you, but I get where you're coming from. I certainly see why you would be okay with that. Chris in Keller, you're on WBAP. Hey, Chris.
Howdy.
Me? You're on the air. Go.
No, I was going to say, man, 23 years ago, I was on one of those ships out there, and I'm so jealous of those guys actually getting to do the mission.
What was it like?
Well, we weren't allowed to do anything but sit there and wait. Like, unless somebody was attacking us, we couldn't do anything.
Well, that sounds
We sat
lame.
there and watched. Yeah, it was kind of lame. I'm so jealous of the guys that are over there right now.
Well, that was the one thing. I was never in the military, so all of my information is secondhand. And you sound like Chris Kyle. I read the American Sniper book. It's way different than the movie. I recommend the book. But he talked about how it's counterintuitive to most Americans how you wanted to be in the fight. You didn't want to be safe and in the back and not having bullets whiz over your head. Y'all are so jealous of the ones that were on the front lines getting to blow stuff up, even though they were the ones that were dying and getting hurt and getting shot and getting blown up themselves or hitting an IED. Like the I don't know, the eagerness y'all are to get to the front lines. I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, I mean, the Marines, they got to go in and do some action, but us Navy guys, we sat out there, and, sometimes we got to do some support missions for the Marines, but by and large, we were just sitting there waiting. We couldn't send over missile after missile after missile and just go straight into Iran. Now, we were shooting into Afghanistan, but there was nobody shooting back. It was just totally different. Actually going into Iran and doing it, God, I wish I was still in.
Well, how different is the technology now versus 23 years ago?
Well, everything I touched was classified, but all of the different things they're talking about.
Oh, well, don't tell me then.
48 torpedo, but I mean, they let this out on unclassified. They shot that one Iranian cruise, or that one Iranian naval boat with a Mark 48 torpedo. Those existed back then. There's not been a big change in those because you don't need to change what works effectively.
All right, well, fun stuff. Generally speaking, you think this could be over in 4 to 6 weeks?
Absolutely.
Cool.
If they got the B-51s out there, this is all but done.
All right. Well, I like your optimism. That's Chris and Keller. Thank you for your service, sir. Did you hear about Ramadan being celebrated at the school in Houston? That's next, coming up on the James Show. But if you have your thoughts, your military experience, like Chris, if you were actually in it, if you've ever been to combat, I'm really interested in your opinion right now. Because that's kind of cool. I love hearing the guys that were, I guess the coolest story I heard was the guy who flew a A-10 Warthog. Is that the right number? I know it's called a Warthog. I just don't remember the level of specifics there. But I love hearing those stories. And I love whenever they have the guys come on Fox News or we have some veteran come on the James Show and they explain how all that works. Because I know like they used to have a laser on the target and that was kind of cool. Give me a call, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, the Ramadan in Texas Public Schools. I'm shocked. Dave Matthews Band coming to Dos Equis Pavilion on May 9th. Get tickets and information at livenation.com. And you can listen to the WBAP Morning Show tomorrow and I guess all next week to find out how you can win tickets. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. So why are we fighting Islam in Iran but welcoming it in North Texas? I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Well, you already know what's going on with Iran. Just paying attention to the news there. We have a new timetable, 4 to 6 weeks. This was spelled out by Carolyn Levitt in the driveway of the White House today. New people, we haven't heard this yet.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks. And
There you go. So today I saw a report about Ramadan being celebrated in a public school in Houston. So they're having the same problem down there that we're having up here. I mean, it makes sense. We're just 3 hours apart. But meanwhile, we're having Sharia courts, Sharia cities, Sharia schools, 60 new mosques in the last 2 years being built here. This is a report comes from Michael Quinn Sullivan at Texas Scorecard.
A Muslim Ramadan display set up in the lobby of Bunker Hill Elementary School in Houston was removed earlier this week after Spring Branch ISD determined that the display violated the district's policy on religious and political neutrality. The display had been put up by the Parent Teacher Association's Cultural Awareness Committee. Earlier this week, Spring Branch trustees voted 7-0 to reject a parent's appeal to remove the Ten Commandments posters from school classrooms. So, Spring Branch is moving in the right direction.
How'd it get up in the first place? George in Hurst, you're on WBAP.
Morning.
Afternoon.
I may break up. I was in Iraq from 04 to 06.
Okay.
With Cav Scout. We were based at Takatim, which is halfway between Ramadi and Fallujah. We were scouts, and we ran outside patrols for the whole time we were there. And them dogs from Iran tried to kill me a whole bunch of times.
Well, then how do you feel about seeing this bombing on TV?
More.
Right.
Absolutely more. I'm glad they got those ships. I don't know if they sunk that drone carrier or not, but they should have.
So
I'm sorry, it just breaks me up.
No, we all hear it. And we'll take your time. Obviously, you went through a lot. So, how many of your friends do you think you lost to Iranian help when you were in Iraq?
Well, we were good enough that we didn't. I didn't lose anybody, and I had upwards of 40 scouts under me for the whole time. But that's just how good we were.
Scary stuff. So
Yes,
are you worried about this hurting Trump in the midterms? If this doesn't end in 4 to 6 weeks, do you think this is going to drag him down?
Oh, it's possible, but I don't know. I don't think it will.
Well, then the next question is, if it does drag him down in the midterms, is it still worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. It is. I love what he said yesterday or today about nothing but unconditional surrender. That's what it needs to be. Those mullahs have got to go.
All right, so where's all this emotion coming from? I mean, you feel really strongly about Iran.
Yes, and I don't know. Every time I think about us doing everything over there that we did, it just, and the people that we lost, I didn't lose any. The mortar platoon that was with us nearly lost 2. And a lot of those IEDs were made in Iran with Iranian components. And we recovered a lot of rifles out in the villas that were Iranian, so they were supplying them with rifles and stuff.
So how long do you think it took, George, from when we first went into Iraq before it was a stable, not chaotic country? I don't even remember how long that process took. Wasn't that like a 5-year span?
Something like that. Our AO out of Takatim was stable. Everybody everybody that was in the villas got to vote with no problem, no interruption or anything. Now, I heard in Fallujah there was a little bit, and up in Ramadi and Habaniyah there was some, but we pretty much had our AO done. The rest of the battalion would take the line platoons would switch off every 3 months. 3 months they would man the gates, and then 3 months they were on patrol up towards Habaniyah. We were out there us and the mortars were outside the wire the whole time.
Well, when you say it like that, George, it took us 5 years to get Iraq down and under control. Is it even possible for us to have Iran looking decent by the time the midterm elections happen?
Well, if we can get rid of the mullahs and the Royal Guard. I think there's enough people in Iraq that want them gone. I mean, in Iran that want them gone that they can take over. And if the Kurds come in and give them some support, I believe it will. In fact, the Kurds need to have their own country, frankly.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Well, you're welcome.
That's all, George. Good stuff. That is George in Hurst. Coming up next, Casey Fleming. He's a CEO of Black Ops. He's going to give his take on the Iran war. Because really, can this thing be turned around and looking decent by the time November rolls around? That sounds like a real tall order. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. What's up, basketball fans? The big tournament's almost here. And if you haven't tried Prize Picks yet, this is the perfect time to go ahead, download it, have a little bit of fun with it. Take advantage of the $50 in free lineups with your first $5 lineup to sort of stretch your legs and see what all it can do. Because this is not your traditional old school fantasy sports. This is daily fantasy sports. It's different. You don't draft a team and just watch them the whole season. Every day you can make a new lineup. It could be 2 to 6 players. You look at some stats, you just pick more or less on one of the stats, and then boom, you can turn a little bit of money into a lot of money. But they do cover the college sports as well. It's not just the pros. So get in, get some practice, and then take advantage of the fun that you're already going to be having with the big tournament this month. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code WBAP. You get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Download Prize Picks. Use promo code WBAP. Get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Get some practice in, and then hit the tournament running. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Can Iran be cleaned up by the midterms? I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP, your home for Markley Van Camp and Robbins, three funny guys with stories you're not going to hear anywhere else. My next guest coming back on the James Show from Black Ops Partners. Casey Fleming's back on. And the big question I have right now is, because we know this will affect the midterms. If this turns out good, this will affect it for the better. If it turns out bad, it will affect it for the worse. But Casey, having this thing all cleaned up and looking sanitary by the time November rolls around sounds like a tall order. Is it possible? Well, are you surprised, pleasantly, or disappointed by the reaction of the international community? So many countries saying they're on board with this or against this? Well, Casey Fleming, I don't expect the media to say one nice thing about the operation, but you got to think their neighbors kind of like this, especially in the Shia Sunni split, Saudi Arabia and all those Emirates down there. They've got to be liking this. Well, what does that look like? Does that look like what happened in Austin, where it's just one dude with a couple of guns? Or are we talking about coordinate? When you say sleeper cells, that makes me think there's at least 2-4 guys that are able of pulling off something a little more complex. Like, I think of what happened in France, where on the same day the Bataclan got shot up. There was like a cafe that got shot up down the street. There's sort of a coordinated string of shootings like that. Is that what you're expecting? So Carolyn Levitt came out and gave a timeline 4 to 6 weeks earlier.
I won't get ahead of the president on broadcasting any timelines. What I will tell you is what President Trump has already laid out, which is that the achievable objectives of Operation Epic Fury we expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks. And
That sound right to you, Casey Fleming? But if you're a sleeper cell and the Ayatollah's dead, who are you fighting for anymore? Just the cause? Trump gave himself a pretty good score on Iran so
This
far.
is very important, and we're doing very well on the war front, to put it mildly, I would say. Somebody said, on a scale of 10, where would you rate it? I said about a 15.
15, that's a pretty high number there, Casey. What would you give it? All right, Casey Fleming, tell them about Black Ops Partners. All right. Thank you very much, Casey Fleming. Find his work at blackopspartners.com. Coming up next, North Texas' hottest new radio segment, Garrett's World, coming up on The James Show. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm sorry, you're just in time for Garrett's World. I'm James Parker. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Now, he's the guy on the other side of the glass, Garrett. We like to give him a hard time. He tells weird stories in meetings, and he's so wholesome, it's suspicious. Thus is born the segment Garrett's World, where I give him a couple minutes to tell a story about anything he wants on Earth. Let's see what he chose this week.
So, they say travel changes you. I just didn't know it would start with panic at the baggage claim. Last week, I told you about arriving at TCU. But today, we're jumping to the exact midpoint of my college journey. The summer I studied abroad in Ireland. Between my sophomore and junior years, TCU's FTDM department offered a month-long program in July 2017. I had never left North America before, so this was a big deal. I signed up immediately, attended every meeting, took notes, and packed carefully. On July 1st, or technically July 2nd, depending on which time zone you prefer, my roommate and I stood at DFW Airport ready to cross the Atlantic. Our first flight was delayed just long enough to make things interesting. We landed in Newark, New Jersey for our connection, and we had minutes to spare. And when I say we ran through that airport, I mean Olympic-level cardio. Backpacks bouncing, zero composure, pure determination. But we made it. Somewhere over the Atlantic, something surreal happened. Because of the time change, I never saw the sun fully set. It hovered right at the horizon for hours, a glowing line separating sky from ocean. It was one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. It was also the beginning of some aggressive jet lag. Eventually, we landed in Dublin, exhausted, excited, and completely out of our comfort zone. New continent, new country, new everything. Then, we went to baggage claim. Everyone else grabbed their suitcases. Ours never came out. At first, we laughed. Then we waited. Then, we realized this wasn't just a delay. Our luggage was gone. Stress level through the roof. I called my parents immediately. They were calm, steady. It'll work out, they said. Work out? We were in another country with nothing but toothpaste and optimism. We met with our group and headed to the university where we'd be staying. I explained everything to the headmistress, gave her my information, and she contacted the airline. She assured me the bags would be found and would let me know when they arrived. I wasn't thinking when, I was thinking if. There are thousands of flights every day, multiple airlines. I was convinced my suitcase was living a brand new life somewhere else. I called my parents again, this time tearfully. And my mom, trying to lighten the mood, said, "Hey, look on the bright side. You get to go shopping in Ireland." At that moment, that did not feel like retail therapy. It felt like survival mode. I didn't want a shopping spree. I wanted my clothes. But our program facilitator, who was Irish, stepped in immediately. She walked us through Dublin, pointed out clothing stores, and helped us find what we needed. And thankfully, I still had my carry-on with toiletries. Small mercies suddenly felt huge. After a good night's sleep, we started classes and began exploring the city. We visited the Guinness Storehouse, sat in historic pubs that felt older than America itself, walked cobblestone streets I had only seen in movies, and then, the next day, my roommate and I were called to the university office. Our luggage had been found. It was waiting for us. Relief doesn't even begin to describe it. We were overjoyed. From that point on, the trip was everything I had imagined. The cliffs of Moher, the Irish countryside, visiting filming locations from Game of Thrones, watching Irish films, even seeing a movie in a local cinema. But here's the thing. The lost luggage is the part I remember most, because that was the moment I had to decide whether the chaos would define the trip or shape me. When I came home a month later, I could feel the difference. I was more adaptable, more confident, and less shaken by things going wrong. That experience taught me something I still carry today. The first chapter of your story doesn't get to decide how it ends. Sometimes, the panic is temporary. The detour becomes the lesson. And sometimes, the thing you think is ruining the moment is actually building resilience you didn't know you needed. Travel didn't just change my location. It changed my perspective. And that's the lesson that stayed packed with me ever since. Because sometimes, the story isn't falling apart. It's just building you for what's next.
Garrett. 4.5 minutes to say your luggage got lost and then it was returned to you a couple days later. It's a boring story, Garrett. Your delivery's getting a lot better. You're using puns. Your inflection and the sort of sing song in your voice is better. You had a established beginning, middle, climax, end. You had the sort of you see to me moment at the end. You know what I'm talking about, where you get the rest, the moral of the story. Well, the packaging is great. Your stories are boring. Like, have you not done anything? Have you never been cuffed and slammed on the hood of a cop car? Have you ever been caught in a shower with someone else's girlfriend? You have any friends who OD'd in front of your face? Have you ever been backstage at a rock concert? That's not backstage at a rock concert. Gary, we got to get you some better experiences, bro. Because losing your luggage is sort of like a happenstance, forgettable detail about a regular trip. Like, it's relatable. It's happened to a lot of us, but for most of us, we don't even remember that part. You went to Ireland, and what you took away with it was that they lost your luggage. Man, make something up. Say, like, we went to the end of the rainbow, and we found a leprechaun, and then we spent all the gold, and you're going to have to start making something up, dude. Can we get you in trouble at some point? Like, it doesn't have to. Well, I'm not saying you have to do anything immoral. It can still be wholesome fun, but like when I was in high school, me and some of my friends, we got a toilet at a garage sale. It wasn't being used. It was just sitting in the garage. And we worked out a pulley system, and I was grounded that night, so I didn't get to go. But me and my friends, we put a toilet on my youth director's house, my youth pastor's house. We thought that was funny. Ha ha ha. You don't even have anything like that? What are you doing with your life, Garrett? Oh, my God. Apparently so. Well, you're better than me. That's today's edition of Garrett's World. And ladies, he's single. All right. Not for long. Not after these great segments. Coming up next, just the lamest, saddest, most pathetic bomb squad story imaginable. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're not going to believe this. Another bomb scare ended up being nothing. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. You're home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. They got a lot of stories, but I don't think they had this one. It happened this morning at 8:30, and then I was made aware of it right after the morning shift I did today started. And I was being nice. I was being magnanimous. I was being a little flexible with my usual hard head mule self. And I wasn't going to bust them up too hard. I wasn't going to say, it's probably just somebody's lunch or a bag of trash or it's probably nothing. But maybe I should have been more of a butthead because it turned out really was nothing. It turned out that someone thought that they saw something scary in the trash can. It turned out to not really be anything scary in the trash can. WFAA has the report.
First, we want to get to some breaking news actually in downtown Dallas. Here is video from our helicopter as we've had streets blocked off around the federal courthouse on Griffin and Wood Streets in downtown Dallas. Our crews have spotted the bomb squad in the area as well. We want to get straight to Kevin Reese, who is live on this scene. Kevin, what can you tell us?
Well, we do know now that this all started about 8:30 this morning here at the corner of Wood and Griffin Streets. As you mentioned, that's where we're standing now. When someone found a suspicious item in or near a trash can at the south end of this parking lot on the south side of the Earl Cabell Federal Building. Let's show you some of the video that we've shot over the last couple of hours. The entire bomb squad was called in. We watched as one bomb tech was completely dressed in protective gear, going to inspect that trash can to find out what that suspicious item might be. We have been told by some sources that they did find something that looks like a personal alarm, something the size of a garage door opener you would keep in your car, but that is not confirmed. But whatever it was, the scene has been cleared here after being shut down for about 2 hours. People were kept out of at least the south entrance to the Earl Cabell Federal Building. People were allowed to go on the north side, but it has caused quite a bit of anxiety down here. We talked to a number of people who have been standing around and watching this. One of them watched this entire episode, told us it was a bit unnerving. Here's what he had to say.
Around 9:30, I came and parked in this parking lot because I wasn't able to get into the building just over there.
Yeah.
I work in Founders Square, and I got an email from them saying that they closed and locked down the whole building. Since that time, I've saw that just in the parking lot around where that parking sign is and the pole, that they've had people in bomb gear come by and check it out. And then just a little bit ago, I saw 2 more agents go in and start taking out all the trash of it. I think since then, I received an email that the all clear is, they gave out the all clear.
And that all clear now about 30 to 45 minutes ago. And when we talk about why they are so reactive to something like this, remember this was the same parking lot in 2019 where an armed gunman, a man in full tactical gear, tried to shoot his way through the south entrance of this federal building. He was shot and killed in this very same parking lot. Again, that was in 2019. So they are very cautious when they hear something like this, a suspicious package, why they reacted the way they did this morning. But again, we're told it is all clear here, and life goes on as normal here in and around the federal building.
All right, the emperor has no clothes. Why do we do this? Why does this keep coming up on the James Show? We had a bomb scare because someone saw something suspicious in a trash can. Now, there is no doubt, and please don't even bother calling and arguing with me on this one. There is no doubt that we overreacted. The only pushback you could possibly have say, well, we didn't know, and out of an abundance of caution, we did all this. But you have to admit, now that we know it was nothing, in fact, they won't even tell us what it was. Personal alert device. What does that even mean? Was it one of those beepers that you get from the hostess desk at Texas Roadhouse while you're waiting on your table? What was it? Was it a beeper? We had the first beeper since 1997. What was it? Because this is stupid the way we react. This is wrong. This is insane. And look, they're talking about, oh, this caused anxiety and it was unnerving and they were all worried. No. The suspicious package didn't cause the anxiety, didn't cause anyone to be unnerved. The ridiculous, absurd overreaction to an unknown object in a trash can caused the anxiety, caused the people to be unnerved. They didn't even know to be unnerved until you closed the building, you locked down the whole building, you blocked off roads, there's helicopters in the air, you got guys running up in bomb gear, you got the SWAT team rolling up, you got the bomb squad truck rolling up, you got Johnny number 5 robot from Short Circuit coming out the back. All for you didn't know what that thing was in the trash can? Here's what you do next time you see something suspicious in the trash can. Just keep your mouth shut and walk on. That's all you got to do. Here's something else you could do. Maybe pick it up and look at it. You're an adult with eyeballs and a brain and the ability to take in information and process it and come to logical conclusions. This is not what we did. If you see something, say something is one of the dumbest sayings that has ruined modern society. Turn us all into a bunch of scaredy cats. Is this? I'm not teaching my kids that. Well, if you see an unattended backpack, let's call the authorities. You got to call the government. You got to be so scared. You got to be so scared of an unattended igloo cooler. What are we doing? How much money did that cost? How many people's days were interrupted? How many people are unnerved? And they walk through the rest of their day. They can't undo the adrenaline dump that they got because they thought they were in danger. Can we stop overreacting like this? We know it's not a bomb. You know why? Because it's never a bomb. They'll try and tell you last week in Highland Village, well, the bomb squad had to go out like 4 days ago and destroy a bomb. It wasn't a bomb. The only thing they'll tell you is an antique item that had pyrrhic acid in it. Whoop-de-doo. Who cares? Well, pyrrhic acid can be an explosive. Anything can be an explosive almost. Hell, half the stuff under your kitchen sink can be an explosive. You mean to tell me I can order pyrrhic acid on Amazon.com? They'll ship me a liter right now, but it's so dangerous we got to call the bomb squad to go blow it up in a park by the lake? This is dumb. This overreaction to suspicious packages needs to stop now. If you see an unattended backpack, do what you did for all of your entire life until 9/11. Remember when you saw an unattended backpack in middle school? You go open it, see if they have their name on their homework or on their, and you would return it to them. You would figure out what it is. Oh, if there's a suspicious package, we'll go figure out what it is. Don't freak out. Don't close an entire block of downtown Dallas in the middle of a busy business day. Don't scare the crap out of everybody. How much money did that cost to send up the helicopter? How much money did it cost to deploy all those cops to shut down the building? It's ridiculous, dumb. It's just dumb the way we overreact to bomb scares and suspicious packages. Oh, it's an unattended cooler. This has to stop. I'm going to ridicule this out of existence if I can. And I know this can work because I did it when I was on in Waco. They had a bomb squad. I think they still do. Dude, they stopped telling the media when they reacted, when they went on a call because they were getting ridiculed so hard on social media. Can we do that here? Can we do that? Here, Gary, I'm going to squeeze this in. I even made a theme where I mashed up the beginning of the A-Team, and I put in, instead of the A-Team, the McLennan County Bomb Squad. Dude, we ridicule these fools out of existence, and we should do it here.
In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire
the McLennan County Bomb Squad. It's never a bomb. It's never a bomb. The only useful thing that you've seen the bomb squad do here in North Texas is when there was the BLM shooting and they put a Claymore mine on him and blew him up. Blowing up the bomb squad robot has been the most productive thing. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Can we stop doing this, though? It's absolutely ridiculous. It's kind of embarrassing. Coming up next, Donald Trump's going to weigh in on the Texas Senate GOP primary runoff, but it comes with strings attached. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Trump says he's going to weigh in on the Texas Senate runoff. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I know, good to see you too. So we just had the first round of the primaries on Tuesday. Ken Paxton and the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, incumbent Senator John Cornyn are headed for a runoff May 26th. And it's just between those two guys. Now, Donald Trump doesn't want to see these two guys spend millions and millions of dollars slagging each other in the media all across Texas, up and down, left and right for the next 2.5 months, and then have to turn around and have that battered candidate face off against Tallarico in November. Understandable. You don't want to spend your money fighting other Republicans. You don't want to tarnish a brand and then turn around and try and sell that brand again in 6 months. So what he's saying, I guess pragmatically makes sense from his point of view. The concern is, what happens if he endorses Cornyn and tells Paxton to drop out? Because that's what he's included. He says, I'm going to endorse one of you. I expect the other one to drop out immediately. Now, why doesn't he announce it already? Well, one popular thought, and this makes sense, is he's trying to extract something from the negotiation. Yeah, I'll give you an endorsement, but how about you, I don't know, say vote for the SAVE Act, perhaps? So is that what we're doing here? Is there some horse trading going on behind the scenes? It's kind of what it sounds like. However, there's a couple of monkey wrenches in that. First off, a month ago, this is from February 17th, Donald Trump said no to endorsing a candidate before the primary happened.
A lot of Republicans in D.C. are asking you to endorse John Cornyn, but you haven't yet. Is there a chance you would endorse Paxton, and why haven't you endorsed Cornyn?
I just haven't made a decision on that race yet. It's got a ways to go, and I haven't. He's a good man. John is I like all three of them, actually. I like all three. Those are the toughest races. They've all supported me. They're all good. And you're supposed to pick one, so we'll see what happens. But I support all three.
I don't buy that. He knows which one he likes better. He just wants to get something out of it. He's just playing the game. I mean, rightfully so. He's a politician. This is a political event, so don't you expect him to be political, of course. Another monkey wrench is the day after the election. This was on Wednesday. Ken Paxton was on Real America's Voice being interviewed, and he said he can't see a scenario in which he drops out.
What message do you want to send to the Republican base? President Trump said he's going to make an endorsement. Whoever he does endorse should drop out. I have a funny feeling you don't drop out under any circumstance.
No, I'm staying in this race. I owe it to the people of Texas. I've spent a year of my life campaigning against John Cornyn because John has not represented the people of Texas well. He's sided with Joe Biden on Second Amendment restrictions. He's sided with Joe Biden on bringing Afghan refugees to settle here without vetting them. But he's been against Trump in both of his elections, said he shouldn't run last time, that his day had passed. And, of course, he fought him on the border wall. He's been an amnesty guy. Everything that Trump stood for, John Cornyn's fought, but he was a big help to Joe Biden. The people of Texas, at least the Republicans, would like something different.
All right, so let me throw around what's being tossed in the rumor mill right now. Number one, you have to ask yourself the question, if Cornyn's not your guy, but you do like Donald Trump, if Donald Trump endorses Cornyn, does that change your vote? Do you still vote for Ken Paxton anyway? Do you write in another candidate? What do you do? Does that change your vote? Does it bother you that the voters of Texas aren't going to have the last say? It's going to be determined and probably swung by Donald Trump's endorsement. Does that rub you wrong? So what do you do in that scenario? Other parts of the rumor mill around this are interesting too, because Ken Paxton says he doesn't want to drop out. Right now, it's easy to believe that he's the front runner, and he may be able to win even without Trump's endorsement. Trump's endorsement, he hasn't been a 100% kingmaker. He's helped and he's swung some races, and some races he's lost. His endorsement didn't win. So is this one of those scenarios, and should Ken Paxton plow through that? Also, if you are going to try and get Ken Paxton to drop out, what do you offer him? Some people think, well, you could offer him pretty much any job. Well, could you offer him a cabinet job? Cabinet appointees, if you're going to be the secretary of one of the cabinet level agencies, you have to go through a Senate confirmation process. Could Ken Paxton survive that? Does he have too many skeletons in the closet? And whether they're legit or not, is there enough of a storyline that can be made? with the infidelity, with the kickbacks, with the impeachment, with all the other financial stuff that's come up and been thrown at him. And here in Texas, they threw the spaghetti on the wall and it didn't stick. But is that too much to get through D.C. when people don't really know all the background? So maybe there's nothing you can really give him. And I don't have the answers to this. I'm very clouded in my vision of the future on what happens here. Because both scenarios could make sense. It could make sense that he would endorse Ken Paxton and ask Cornyn to drop out. Cornyn stabbed him in the back. Cornyn supported amnesty. Cornyn opposed the wall. Cornyn supported gun control. Cornyn opposed Trump running again in 2024. That also makes sense in the other direction. Ken Paxton's got a lot of baggage. Maybe there's some stuff we don't know about that will be brought up to torpedo him if they do bring him to D.C. and it'll blow up in their face. Maybe he's going to get some good concessions out of John Cornyn and bite the bullet and keep this guy around and sacrifice Ken Paxton back to Texas. There's a whole lot of things that could go on. A lot of them make sense. It'd be interesting to see where we are in just 1 month from now. Sheila, Grand Prairie, you're on WBAP.
I will vote for Ken Paxton regardless of who Trump endorses. Cornyn has not been voting for us.
Agreed.
He's been going against anything that we have been asking for, and I just would rather have Paxton in office.
So Donald Trump's endorsement wouldn't change that for you?
Not at all.
Next question, Sheila.
I'm very much for Trump, but not for this.
All right, now this is a tough question, Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
So Donald Trump endorses Cornyn. Ken Paxton does drop out. Who do you vote for in November? Do you vote for Cornyn then?
I'd probably vote for Wesley Hunt, to be honest with you, because I really like him.
Well, I think you'd have to write him in, but I hear you.
Yeah. I'm not going to go Democrat. I will say that.
Good. You're standing on your principles, even if it costs you an election. I admire that. Thank you very much. That is Sheila in Grand Prairie. We have a couple more calls on Trump being the kingmaker in the Texas Senate race, and then we got to get to Name That Artist. That's right, Name That Artist. Today we're playing for tickets to Our Lady Peace. They're coming back to town, so if you're an Our Lady Peace fan, you may want to get on the horn for that one. I'm James Parker. This is The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Donald Trump's going to weigh in on the Texas Senate race on the GOP side. What do you think about that? If you're supporting Paxton and Donald Trump endorses Cornyn, Paxton drops out, you still voting for Cornyn? It's not so easy now, is it? I encourage you to always vote on your principles. Don't vote for a guy you don't like. Don't vote for the lesser of two evils. Make them chase your vote. Do not give them your vote. If you make them chase, if you keep giving their vote, they're not going to do anything special for you. It's like when you're trying to get a girlfriend, make her chase you a little bit. It might work better in the reverse. It's like you're trying to get a boyfriend, make him chase you a little bit. If you just keep giving it up, he's not going to change. Why would he? It's already working for him. I don't know. It's a terrible metaphor. Let me go to the phones. Dennis in Arlington, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, hi, KGL speaker there. I have a question that makes a conundrum for me, and that is that I read in several places that John Cornyn and something even about his daughter that he's employed making some really good money. But Mr. Cornyn seems to have been complicit in receiving monies from drug cartels to help with some of his border decisions, and I've not heard that debunked. Can you debunk that, please?
Oh, no, but look, I almost want to say things like this don't matter because, and in some ways it doesn't. Let me explain myself because I know that sounds really flippant and dismissive, Dennis, because you're making a legit point. But if you have a free market capitalist whose daughter isn't getting money from the cartel, wouldn't he be a better leader? Wouldn't he be better in positions of power than a clean, non-corrupt socialist?
Maybe.
Yeah, I know it feels weird to say that, but what really does matter is just their policy positions. It didn't matter that Trump cheated on his wife. It didn't matter that Ken Paxton or Newt Gingrich or Ted Kennedy or JFK or Ben Franklin cheated on their wife or slept with hookers or did anything untoward. What really matters is when they get in the rooms where the decisions are made, are they going to choose the policies that move this country in the right direction, that match the founding fathers' vision and the Constitution, along with the Federalist Papers and whatnot? Are they closer to that? We really have to start divorcing ourselves from the private lives and the human foibles of all these guys because nobody's perfect. And it really does just come down to policy. How do you feel about Cornyn on policy, Dennis?
I'm not sure that he's been very effective.
Well, effective is sort of subjective, but look, I would say if you're going to vote John Cornyn, here's what I want to hear. I want to hear that you don't like his stance against the border wall. I want to hear that you don't like his stance on never being concerned about balancing the budget, or that he supported gun control measures, or that he said Trump shouldn't run in 2024. He thought January 6th was an impeachable offense. Stick with the policies. Let's stop attacking men and their foibles and their shortcomings and I'm not saying you're being immature, but let's be a little more grown up about this and not make it such a voting for prom king kind of feel for, Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, I've got you. And I say ditto on all the policy things you said earlier.
So who you voting for in November?
Paxton.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Dennis. Robert, Arlington, you're next up on WBAP.
Well, I would just like to say that I think John Paxton has been the least libertarian attorney general in Texas history. And while I will not vote for a Democrat in the general, I will certainly vote for a libertarian before I vote for Ken Paxton.
Well, I hear you on that. I'm not going to talk you out of that. I find this whole freedom narrative one of the biggest foot in the door for my Republican friends who don't really know that they're libertarian, because there's a lot of people out there that say, well, I'm fiscally conservative, but I'm socially liberal. Well, you're probably a libertarian. That's kind of if you say that sentence, you may just want to explore the fact that you do not fit in the existing blue-red paradigm cleanly like your Republican friends do, because it drives me nuts how the Republicans fight against marijuana being legal, because I want all drugs to be legal. They fight against the gambling. Oh God, we can't have a casino here. Yeah, because that's really devastated the Gulf Coast of Mississippi.
Because we might make money on that,
right? And yeah, and
I've been a libertarian since 1979, and I've been telling people these things were going to happen, and they happen, just like I've told them, and I'm sick of being right.
Me too. And I think the drug one is the most annoying one. If we could just wrap our heads around the fact that government control of drugs is worse than government not having control of drugs. I'm not saying it's good.
Well,
I just look at prohibition. Didn't we learn our lesson from prohibition? Didn't we learn?
Let me just
Go ahead.
ask you this real quick. Who would you rather have your child try to buy drugs from? The guy who's selling them now, or a man behind a counter with a valuable license to lose if he sells them to your child?
Right. Some cartel laced bag of who God knows what, or the dude at
Right.
CVS.
I would
No,
rather
good
have a
stuff.
guy selling my child United States Pharmacopoeia heroin from behind a counter with a valuable license to lose if he sells it to children.
Hi, Robert. You're awesome. Thanks for listening. We got to play Name That Artist. Our prize today is awesome. I'm an Our Lady Peace fan. They're coming to Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall March 12th with special guest The Verb Fight. They had that one song. Get tickets and information at livenation.com. But you can call in now if you can name these 10 artists. And today's category is 70s early top 40 hits. Go. All right. So there's your montage. You don't have to know all of them. You just have to know more than the next guy. Call in right now if you want to try and win Our Lady Peace tickets. Again, you don't have to know all of them. You just have to know more than the guy next to you. 800-288-9227. Call in right now. I'll play it again on the other side of the break. You can write down your answers and get some Our Lady Peace tickets from old WBAP. 800-288-9227. The answers to Name That Artist next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey! You are just in time for Name That Artist on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. At stake today on Name That Artist, we have 2 tickets to see Our Lady Peace. They're going to be at Tannehill's Tavern and Music Hall March 12th. Special guest, The Verve Pipe. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or all you people on hold. If you can call in right now, 800-288-9227. Get on the hold. We're about to play the montage of songs again. If you're already on hold, get out a piece of paper and a pen, or maybe a notepad file on your phone, and write down the artists. And you don't have to know all of them. Just write down the ones that you do know, and we'll see what your score is to this montage. Okay, so that's your 70s early top 40 hits. Bruce made that one because all those songs are older than me. So let's see how this translates. We're going to start with our first contestant today, Jim in Garland. Hey, Jim, you ready for Name That Artist?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, let's hear how many you got. Ready, go.
Sugarloaf, Grand Funk Railroad, Steely Dan, Olivia Newton-John, Paul McCartney Wings, Bachman Turner Overdrive, Dave Edmunds, T-Rex, Rolling Stones, and Climax Blues Band.
It's a perfect score. It's a perfect game. There's no second contestant. No one gets a steal. No one even gets a chance because, Jim, you nailed it. All right. Well, you just won 2 tickets to see Our Lady Peace at Tannehill's Tavern. I'll put you on hold. Good Garrett will get your information. We will email you the tickets. Thank you very much for the awesome job that you did at today's Name That Artist. My goodness. I love it when we have a perfect score. We don't have to throw anything over to the judges. No train wreck. Nothing embarrassing. Nothing too embarrassing. All right. So that's today's episode of Name That Artist. Real quick here, we have another story of a data center that was scheduled for Fort Worth. And of course, there's some people that don't like the idea. And it's the same reporting that ticks me off about the other data centers, like when they're trying to build one in Granbury, or they're trying to build the ICE facility in, what is that, Hutchins? They don't tell you the economic impact. They do, like 1 minute into the story, tell you that there will be some lost tax revenue. But what about the economic impact? How many jobs will be created? How much development? How much economic creation, economic activity is going to be had by this thing? No, they're obviously against it. Let's go find one person that's against it, and we'll tell their story from their side, and we'll give like maybe just a fringe mention to the other side. But not near this. This isn't balanced. We get it. You don't like data centers. We got it.
Think any of those are blooming yet, are they?
Weston Gardens is a hidden gem.
They're a native plant.
A tranquil escape into nature.
This plant over here is starting to bloom.
Its history is ingrained in the wide open spaces of southeast Fort Worth. But the landscape is changing.
What does that mean to you?
Doesn't make me happy. I think it makes my son even sick, really.
Sue Weston of Weston Gardens will soon be surrounded by a proposed 450-acre data center. Tuesday, developer Black Mountain Power is asking the city of Fort Worth to rezone 80 more acres.
Isn't 450 way too much?
I was surprised.
Employee and soon-to-be data center neighbor Caitlin Waldinger is worried.
It's more of what is it going to do to our area? What is it going to do to the nature out here?
Weston says there's too much they don't know.
450 acres and you don't know where anything goes is crazy in my opinion.
Why is it, hang on, stop it. Why is that crazy? Who says it's crazy? Have you worked at a data center before? Do you know how much space it takes? Heck, maybe it only takes like an acre, but they want to buffer around so y'all don't complain about the noise or the site or whatever. Maybe it's so, it'll lessen the impact to the surrounding community. They're like, oh, you don't know what it's going to do to the nature. Anywhere you build this thing, it's going to replace nature. You goobers, what do you want to do? Not build anything ever again? Good thing you people weren't in charge in Dallas in like the 1850s. We would have never built this town. Oh, what are we going to do? Just take this farmland over? Yeah, we're going to take the farmland over. Yeah, we're going to build a city on it. It's going to be one of the greatest cities the world has ever known. You're not making an argument against data centers. You're making an argument against building anything ever. And do you like having the internet? Do you like having artificial intelligence? Do you like when you turn on your phone and you want to look something up that somewhere there's some computer in some room that's being maintained on your behalf to get you the answer? Do you want the internet or not? Because it's not like these things aren't going to be built. They're just not going to be built here. And maybe they'll be built somewhere else and they'll get the economic benefit from it. Maybe it'll be built in another country and we'll lose those jobs altogether. And then our data centers will be holding to, international geopolitics. Oh, that's great. Is that better? You just want to run off development? You can't call yourself a progressive if you're always standing athwart progress. Coming up next, I've got the real scuttlebutt on why Kristi Noem got fired yesterday. I had to go dig through a hearing from last week to go get the soundbite, but you'll hear it next. The real reason Kristi Noem got fired. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, I was really nosy today, and you're going to like what I found. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins, which I heard them play the soundbite of Senator John Kennedy out of Louisiana. He's a Republican, and he was walking by the Capitol, and someone approached him on the sidewalk, and he told the story about, he's asked about Kristi Noem being fired, if he had anything to do with that. And he shared a little nugget here that got me digging.
Can we get your reaction to Senator Mullen being named DHS?
I didn't want to mention it before because it would have violated the confidence, but the president, when he called me Tuesday night, the night of the hearing, when he was mad as a murder hornet, he asked me what I thought about Mark Twain, and I said, A, I like him. B, he's very smart. C, he's a very good businessman.
All right, so I'm the kind of nosy little butthead that's like, well, what at the hearing made Donald Trump mad as a murder hornet? And so I dug around and I found the part that they were talking about here. So you'll hear that same guy, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana. He is questioning Kristi Noem about a suspicious ad campaign that it sounds absolutely ridiculous. And I hate these stupid government ad campaigns. They are all such a waste of money. Like even the free ones, even the PSAs, that's a waste of our money. Look, government ad campaigns are just taking your dollars, making ads for politicians, and helping them out with their name recognition. It's never for the betterment of the people, or rarely for the betterment of the people. That's not the main goal. That's for sure. But think about it like this for PSAs. What if you had like a bakery and the government came and took every 10th loaf of bread? And you're like, what are you doing? That's like 1/10 of my inventory. And they're like, yeah, but we've got to convince kids to go play in the woods. There might be a kid in the wrong size car seat. It's always dumb stuff. We're worried about forest fires. Yeah, we got to take every 10th loaf of bread from the baker because we want to prevent forest fires. I love the one about playing in the forest. Like, what are you supposed to do if you live in an apartment downtown Dallas? Just drive down I-20 till you get to the woods and pull over and run out of the car into the woods, just start playing? It's dumb. Anyway, here's the part from the hearing that got Donald Trump so mad.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently?
By the way, you've seen these ads. $220 million is a lot. You've seen the one. She's riding on the horse. She's dressed like a cowboy. You need to go back to your country, or well.
Sir, the president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from, with putting commercials out that told them that if they were in this country illegally, that they needed to leave, or we would detain them and remove them, and they'd not get the chance to come back to America the right way. That has been extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes, before I was put in this position and sworn in and confirmed, and since then as well.
Okay. Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time? Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes, did it correctly.
Did the president know
worked
you
with
were going to do
OMB.
this?
Yes.
He did?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be
By the way, that's the part where Donald Trump gets mad because he did not approve of that, according to him.
helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. My research shows that you did not bid them out, that you pick, in fact, one of the people you picked, the strategy group, Safe America Media was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money, and the head of that is married to your former spokesperson. Look, we all have friends who are qualified. I'm not quibbling with that. It troubles me. A fifth to a quarter of $1 billion of taxpayer money when we're scratching for every penny and we're fighting over rescission packages.
Yeah, there's the rest of the story. Good day. All right, let's go check in with our friends. You know, we have a lot of our neighbors here in Texas. I know you didn't vote for Jasmine Crockett, but a lot of our friends did. Let's see how they're doing today. Here's Meredith.
This is not America! Okay, I'm so upset. I cannot believe this is happening to our country. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves, Governor Abbott. All y'all. Shame. Shame. Shame on you guys. This is ridiculous. You're going to do whatever you can to suppress our votes. You already gerrymandered everything. You just gotta make it worse. You just gotta make it harder, huh? That's okay. I still voted, you bastards.
No one tried to stop you from voting. And if they did, it was the Democrats who run the Dallas County Democrat primary election process. So please calm down, Meredith. It's okay. It's okay. Let's go to the other side of the Team Blue spectrum here. Check in with James Tallarico. Some viral videos are floating around of some of his quoted greatness.
For me, prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness, my own masculinity, my own certainty, my own ego. It's a never-ending process, and it's a painful process.
Doesn't that suck when people use masculinity and whiteness as a pejorative? Yes, I have to reconcile my whiteness and my masculinity. Is there something wrong with being a white man that you have to also, well, we've got some sort of problem we have to fix? What the hell's wrong with people? That's incredibly racist. That's incredibly sexist. And you got a white man over here looking like woke Opie, just getting away with it. And man, if you're a white man and you vote for that, do you have a special chair at the end of your bed? All right, that's going to about do it for the James Show. The Guess Who, the band, I'm not being rhetorical there. The Guess Who is coming to Dickies Arena August 9th. Special guest Don Felder. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or we're doing a giveaway for tickets now. You can text to win some tickets from Old WBAP. You just text the same number that you call in on, 800-288-9227. Text the word WHO, W-H-O, to 800-288-9227. You and a few people will be entered in for a chance to win a pair of tickets from us. Stick around. The great one, Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker. This has been The James Show on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM, WBAP.